Welcome to Health Coach Talk. My guest today is Leo Grady of Jonah Health, and he's here to tell you all about what they do and why this is something that, as a health coach, or if you're considering becoming a health coach or working with one, why this would be important for you to learn about. So welcome, Leo.
Thank you so much, Sandi. It's great to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you. And you started out, you have a long history, over 20 years with AI. You're in tech and you have experience with a lot of different companies prior to Jonah. Can you share that journey and how you came to found Jonah? What was the impetus for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually did a PhD in AI 20 years ago.
Wow.
I've spent my whole career in the healthcare industry. I started at Siemens building AI in radiology. Then I was in California building AI in cardiology. Then I was CEO of a company here in New York called Page AI, building AI in pathology. And throughout all of these companies, we had multiple FDA approvals. We had the first Medicare payment for an AI product in healthcare, and really launched these products globally. And I saw the impact that we were having. And at the same time, I was really reading more and more about the microbiome and seeing how central it was to someone's health. And as somebody myself who is a bit of like a very interested in personal health, like got like the guy with the Aura, the Ring, and the Whoop, and I have several members of my family who have Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, celiac. I saw the importance of the microbiome, and the literature was just exploding. But I felt that it was so complex that, not only the microbiome is so complex, but the scientific literature is so complex. Every single month, there are more than 2,000 papers published on the microbiome in PubMed. So nobody can read all of these. And even if you do read, 100 papers on the microbiome and bloating, or the microbiome and colon cancer, actually putting all that data together, all those studies together to interpret somebody's microbiome test results is really, really hard because these studies are slightly different and so on. So this is where I felt AI could really add a lot of value to be able to allow us to understand, take advantage of what's already known today about the microbiome and start using it and operationalizing it, even though we're not at the state of having a clinical diagnostic test or anything like that. Let's just start using all of the great research that's already been done and systematically applying that to be able to interpret somebody's microbiome.
Sure. So what you're saying is you've taken your past knowledge, experience, and you were really ahead of your time to be looking into artificial intelligence so many years ago, taking that and applying it to microbiome testing. Can you describe what this is like? What is the consumer experience? And first of all, is this a direct-to-consumer test? Let's say I want to find out about my microbiome. I want to find out all the bugs and what's living in my gut. So how can I get a test through Jonah?
So we are offering it through providers and clinicians, health coaches, concierge medicine, functional medicine, integrated medicine. We're also selling it direct to consumer. So you can go on our website and order a test. And when you do that, we ship a kit to your house. It's a stool sample. You send it back to the lab. We do deep shotgun metagenomic sequencing, and we identify all the bacteria, the fungus, the viruses, everything in your gut down to a strain level. And then we built this large language model, which is a type of AI like ChatGPT. And what that does is it reads the entire literature, and they can summarize for you and say, Sandi, here are all the diseases that have been linked with your microbiome. Here are all the allergies that have been linked with your microbiome. Here are the symptoms that have been linked with your microbiome. Provide you all of that information, link you out to the studies so you can see what we're talking about. And then if there's a problem or if there's something you want to fix, then the AI goes through the literature again and figures out what you can do to change your microbiome. It could be diet, it could be lifestyle, it could be supplements. Again, summarizes all of that for you and makes it available, citing all the studies about how this change affects your microbiome and why that would move you in a direction that would potentially lessen those associations with whatever health issue you're trying to address.
So, one of the issues when I speak to practitioners, for example, or I saw it as consumers who've taken these tests that are direct to consumer, looking at their microbiome, they come back with recommendations like, "Oh, you shouldn't eat cashews, or you should only eat almonds, or vice versa," and they're not sure, like, okay, how did they come up with these
Exactly.
recommendations? What is this valid? And so, can you describe what is different at Jonah so that you can look at a recommendation with more confidence?
Yeah, there are really two big things, right? One is that a lot of those companies are really selling you probiotics or supplements. And when I take those tests, they say, Leo, your guts are awful, but take our probiotic and we'll fix it. And so that's one flavor. And then to your point, when they do say eat cashews or almonds or whatnot, it's never clear to me how they arrive at that.
Yeah, that's the
And
problem. How do you know?
exactly, they don't tell you. And this is why having the AI read the literature and point you to the study that says eating cashews was shown to change your microbiome by increasing these species, decreasing these species. And for you, increasing these species and decreasing those species would decrease your association with bloating or whatever it is, right, that you're trying to work on.
Yeah.
And so we can actually connect the dots for you.
Okay. So it's the AI, it's the larger database that you are tapping into, so that it increases the validity of the results.
Yeah, and linking you to those studies.
Okay.
And we tell you, is it preliminary evidence? Is it established? Every study that we look at, we give it a quality score, which is, depends on the size of the study and the quality of the journal. And by this, we try to help you understand, is this something that's really known and established, or is it more preliminary? But totally transparent, so there's no black box or just, trust us.
Yeah, got you. Is this something that is meant to be done repeatedly? So let's say I get my microbiome assessed. I do this test in January. Should I? And then there's recommendations. Maybe I'm following those recommendations, and I want to see what's changed. So could I then be assessed again? Let's say 6 months down the road or so.
100%. And that's really how we're designing the product, is for people who want to be monitoring their health. And I think they're really two groups. They're people that are generally healthy, that just want to check and make sure nothing looks off in their microbiome. The people like me really don't have any particular health issues. And then there are other people who are trying to either get to the root cause of something or try to fix something, or they're having symptoms and they're trying to understand where they're coming from and what they might be able to do about it. And for those people, if they're actually making changes and working on their microbiome, then I think they would want to reassess, to really track and monitor, am I getting the results that I am expecting? And should I keep doing this, or should I take a turn and try something different now that the microbiome's at a different stage?
What do you see as the role of health coaches to help their clients, or perhaps they're working with practitioners? What would their role be in working with an assessment like Jonah's?
I think it's two things, really. One is to help the client understand the results and answer questions, and really help think through how to implement, dietary changes or lifestyle changes in the context of that particular individual. And then the other is that people are more than just their microbiome, right? We've seen that the
Totally.
microbiome underpins so much of their health, but other people are dealing with other. There's more information there in terms of what's going on in their life, mentally, emotionally, with their blood biomarkers or their hormone biomarkers. And so the microbiome is part of one picture. And so I think it adds information. I think we can provide really unique information to both interpret your microbiome, help you potentially identify root causes and things that you could do. But it's one piece of an overall picture. And I think the health coach's role is to take that whole picture and really help guide the person to make optimal choices.
That makes sense, and that's what we teach, is to help have they're the guides to help people to lead happier, healthier lives and look at what areas you need to change. So I've been talking a lot about this merger of heart-centered coaching plus AI. And I'd love to hear your thoughts, someone who's been in this field of AI for so long and you've seen it evolve. And many people see it as a threat. So, what would you say? What is the future for AI, and how can we look at it as a positive as opposed to being frightened out of our minds about, the robots are taking over?
Yeah, I hear a lot of that. Um, the AI is a tool, right? And if you look at something like Jonah, right? In theory, somebody could read 2,000 papers a month. Practically, that's impossible, right? And so, if you want to be able to take advantage of all that information, no matter how qualified you are as a health coach or how experienced you are, it's not possible to keep up with literature like that. So when you look at Jonah and the kind of AI that we've built, reading that literature for you, providing that summary, linking you out to the studies, so you can still go read the relevant studies for that individual client. It's a real service that you couldn't do otherwise. And when I look at a lot of what I've built in the past in healthcare, it's really providing more information to the doctor or the clinician that they didn't really have access to otherwise. And that allows them to be better informed in both understanding what's going wrong with the patient and all the selecting the best way to treat that patient. And in many cases, people conjure up all these doomsday scenarios with AI, but when you actually look around, AI is a tool that helps us sift through a lot of information very quickly and find what we're looking for and really help us make better, more informed decisions.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So, if a health coach wants to can they get an account? Can they, with Jonah, can you describe that process?
Yeah, there's a provider page on our website. And if you fill in the contact form, we can set you up with your own link that you can send your clients to, and then they can order with your specific code so that you will get the information and we'll be able to link that client with you as a health coach. And if anyone ever has any trouble, they can always reach out directly, either through the website or contact me or anyone else at the company to help answer any questions.
So there could be two ways that coaches can work with you, and that what you just described is one. If you, and I think that would be if you already have a license from another field, or you are confident, if you have the training and background, and if you would prefer to have your clients go to the direct to consumer, that would be another way, so that the results come directly to your client and then they can share that with you. And what I love about this platform and what you've built is that the recommendations, the analysis is there, so that you as a health coach are not interpreting medical information. You are actually helping people understand what is there in black and white on their result report from you guys. And so that's why what appealed to me about what you're doing, and that is because it is not the coach acting as the practitioner. Again, unless you have that training and background, you already have a prior license to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And
Yeah.
we link to all the studies. So everything that we say is backed up by different studies. And the client can read them, the coach can read them. Ultimately, really just surfacing that information to help interpret the person's microbiome.
Yeah. What are your future plans? What are your dreams for the future of the company? Where would you like to go?
As we work with more and more coaches, as we work with more and more clients, we're going to start being able to see more microbiomes and see changes that people are making, see how their microbiome is changing over time. And that's really going to allow us to go beyond the literature and start to advance microbiome science to the point where we can actually not just link to existing studies, but create our own studies and use all of this data in order to be able to build true clinical grade diagnostics and new therapeutics that can really help better diagnose and treat people more effectively.
Sounds good. Well, I wish you all the best of luck in that mission. And how can people find you or find Jonah?
We have a website at www.jonah.health. We're on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And please feel free to reach out. And we'd love to hear from you.
Well, thanks for being with us today. And this is just one more way that health coaches can really guide people to take charge of their health by getting this information so that they know what is going on in their microbiome. So again, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks so much, Sandi. This was fun.